In this video, you're going to learn how to rig the Laser, which is one of our one-person sailing dinghies. The first thing you want to do is move the Laser somewhere on the dock where it's going to be easy to rig. We're also going to make sure that we turn the boat into the no-sail zone. And then after that, we're going to take the cover off the boat. You're going to start to unclip the cover and then store it somewhere where it's not going to blow off the dock. Most people put it in the white dock box. We need to grab 3 spars for our boat. The first one is the top mast section, which is going to have this little black collar and nothing else on it. We also need to grab a boom, which is going to have the main sheet and the outhaul coiled around the back. And lastly, we need to grab the bottom mast piece, which is going to have the boom vang and the gooseneck on it. All of our spars are going to be stored on this rack right here. So the first one Christian is going to grab is going to be the boom. You can see the outhaul and the main sheet coiled on the back. Next will be the top mast section. And lastly will be the bottom mast section. So there are 3 different Laser sails that you can use. The top mast section and the boom are going to be the exact same for all 3 sails. The bottom mast section will change with each sail. If we look here, we have 3 bottom mast sections. You can tell that they all are shaped and sized a little differently. The bottom mast section, the spar on the left, is going to be for the full Laser sail, which is the largest sail. If you look at the spar, you'll notice that it is the longest and it is totally straight. The middle spar is for the radial sail, which is the medium-sized sail. It is also totally straight and a little bit shorter than the full. Lastly, on the right, we have the 4.7 spar, which is the smallest sail. You can tell that it has a slight curve in it and is also the shortest. Today we are rigging a radial sail, so we're going to take the middle spar. Once we have the right spars, we're going to slide the top mast section and the bottom mast section together. We need to make sure that this rivet is facing in the same direction as the gooseneck. Right now it is not. So Christian is going to rotate the top mast section until the rivet faces in the same direction as the gooseneck. You now can take your sail out and unroll it. And just like you would with the topper, we're looking for the tack of the sail, the front bottom corner. There's going to be a pocket that we're going to feed over the top of the mast. When we feed the sail on, we're going to try to feed it down as low as we physically can. This next part isn't required, but I think it makes it easier to put the mast inside the boat. So what we're going to do is turn the Laser 90 degrees perpendicular to the wind. You're then going to bring the mast over to the boat. You can put it on your shoulder, and we're going to step it into the boat. The benefit of doing this is that you're not having to reach over the boat quite as far as you would if the boat were still facing into the no-sail zone. We're now going to turn the boat back inside the no-sail zone into the wind. And we now can bring the boom over to the boat. And we want to make sure that this puka, this hole, is facing forward because we're going to match it up with the gooseneck here in a second. Alright, Christian is putting the gooseneck into the boom. And we're now making sure that this blue block is on the bottom of the boom. That's letting us know that the boom is into the gooseneck correctly and not upside down. Moving to the very back of the boom, we're going to uncoil our main sheet and also uncoil our outhaul. The outhaul should be tied with a bowline to this fair lead on the very back of the boom. So we're going to take the tail of the outhaul through the clew of the sail, back through the fair lead that it is tied off to, and then up the boom towards the gooseneck. As we move forward on the boom, we're going to slide the tail of the outhaul through this cleat. And you will adjust the tension of the outhaul based on the wind conditions. You can wrap the excess around the boom and tuck it underneath itself. So as of right now, this is what the outhaul should look like. It goes from the fair lead to the clew of the sail, back to the fair lead, and then up to the cleat on the boom. We now need to grab a clew tie, and those will be located on our rack. Christian's going to grab one and then take it over to the sail. We're going to feed it through the clew of the sail and go around the boom once or twice and then secure with a square knot. If you tie this correctly, the foot of the sail will be touching the boom. Now we can grab our boom vang We'll find the attachment piece and we're going to attach it to the boom. We're making sure that while we're on the dock it's completely loose, and then we can pull the bungee over the boom vang, which will hold it in place while it's loose. We now need to grab a Cunningham, which will either be located here on the rack, or if we go over to the white dock box, they'll be located down here on the side. So we're going to grab one of our Cunninghams, walk back over to the boat, and we're going to feed the tail through the tack. We're going to pull it all the way through until we get to the bowline, and then we're going to take the tail of the Cunningham all the way around the vang tang once, one full circle. We'll then bring the tail back up to the bowline. We'll feed it through. We'll pull that back down. We'll go through this block on the deck. And then finally through this cleat. Once we feed it through the cleat, you'll secure with a stopper knot and a daisy chain. We're now going to move to the back of the boom and we're going to do our main sheet. The main sheet goes from this block down. We're then going to go through this block front to back and then move back up to this blue block, and we're going to go back to front. So here we have Christian taking the tail of the main sheet front to back, back to front. We're going to go through here, also through this blue block, and then down to the main sheet block. We need to make sure that when we feed through the block, the ratchet clicks, which it is not doing right now. If it's not clicking, that means we fed through the block in the incorrect direction. So we're going to take it out and feed it through the other direction. Here you can hear the ratchet clicking, which means we fed it through correctly. So again, we're going to go from this blue block down, front to back through this block, and then back to front through that block. We now are once again going to turn the boat 90 degrees perpendicular to the wind. This is going to allow the main sheet and the sail to move out to about 90 degrees from the boat. We need to grab the main sheet and prevent the sail from going any further than 90 degrees. Once you've found that point, you'll secure with a stopper knot and a daisy chain. You now can move the boat back inside the no sail zone. You'll now go and pick up a rudder as well as a dagger board. Similar to the topper, we're going to feed the tiller and the tiller extension underneath the traveler, which is this first red line, but over top the second line. From there, it'll be easy to match up the pins and the gudgeons in the very back of the boat. It should look like this. Lastly, we're going to take our safety line underneath the traveler, and we're going to tie a bowline to the second red line. Lastly, we need to put our plug in. If you don't see a plug already tied to the back of the boat somehow, it likely is inside the boat. So we'll grab that and we'll screw that into the back of the boat.